Last November, the American people voted to break through Washington's gridlock and get Congress working again. That's just what the new Republican majority you elected has done.
From voting to repeal Obamacare
to funding our nation's warfighters,
we've worked to address many of your concerns and challenges facing our country.
and we're just getting started.
We made a promise to the American people.
If we were elected to the majority, we would get Washington working again for American families.
That wasn't a campaign slogan.
That was a commitment.
And over the past year, we've delivered on that promise.
And while so-called experts might have you believe that nothing ever gets done in Washington, we'd like to share the other side of the story.
Hundreds of thousands of jobs depend on the funding from transportation bills. Instead of more of the same short-term funding patches, we've reversed the trend, passing a bipartisan multi-year transportation bill. This will help our economy and put us in a better, more competitive position.
This year's National Defense Authorization Act provides our troops the resources they need. It ensures defense funding is focused on our nation's warfighters and not Pentagon bureaucracy.
We ended the waivers that the U.S. Department of Education was using to, in effect, be a national school board for 80,000 schools in 42 states. The law we passed is the biggest step toward local control of schools in 25 years.
We began the process of putting both Social Security disability insurance and Medicare on a more stable financial footing so that these programs can continue to serve current and future generations of Americans.
Sex traffickers prey on the most vulnerable among us, and too often missing children become their victims. I'm proud that the Senate passed my bill, the Bringing Children Home Act, to help ensure that these young people don't fall victim to predators.
Under President Obama, our nation's debt has nearly doubled. But with Republicans in control of both chambers of Congress, we passed the first balanced budget in 14 years. This will help put our country on not just another course, but a better course.
I've spent this year focusing on reforming the VA healthcare system and conducting serious oversight to ensure that the VA is actually addressing our veterans' problems.
I held hearings to hold VA officials accountable and end the VA's culture of corruption. Now, doctors and nurses are protected from retaliation when they report abuse.
We've learned that the Affordable Care Act is not making health care more affordable. In fact, for too many Americans, it is driving up the cost of health care instead of lowering the cost as President Obama promised. In response, Senate Republicans acted and passed legislation that would repeal Obamacare and open the door for real health care reforms.
Every week it seems we hear news of a new computer security breach. We passed legislation to increase cybersecurity cooperation between the public and private sectors to help keep Americans' personal information safe from hackers.
Environmental bureaucracy has done everything from attempting to regulate puddles and ditches in America's backyard to imposing a massive national energy tax that would eliminate tens of thousands of American jobs and drive up electricity bills. The Republican-led Senate rejected this overreach and sent legislation to the President's desk to protect American families and workers.
Well, the Justice for Victims of Trafficking Act was a very important piece of legislation that I'm particularly proud about. We passed 99-0, provides a fund to help victims of human trafficking heal and hopefully get on with their lives.
We started with the fundamentals, then we passed major reforms. Here's what's clear. The new Republican majority is getting the Senate back to work and back on your side, just like we promised.